The modern destroyer, DD, is a general-purpose warship capable of surface, subsurface, and anti-air warfare. Destroyers evolved from ships designed to destroy torpedo boats that threatened battleships at the end of the 19th century. Destroyer Escort, the abbreviation DE is used, was the United States Navy mid-20th century classification for a 20-knot warship designed with the endurance necessary to escort mid-ocean convoys of merchant marine ships. The destroyer is designed primarily for attack, with the torpedo as its deadliest weapon in fleet actions. The destroyer Escort was created solely for defense, including the very limited scope of attack inherent to any good defense, and is expected to find relatively little use for torpedoes in guarding convoys. The origin of the destroyer Escort is officially traced back to the fall of 1940, approximately 15 months before Pearl Harbor. The Navy was already wrestling with the problem of transatlantic convoys on paper. Fortunately, the quest for a smaller substitute for destroyers began at about the time that the British Navy completed its first class of small destroyers in many years. These were the 20 Hunt-class ships. As small warships that needed to be simple, cheap, and built in bulk. The emphasis how cheap they were. The used diesel engines similar to the ones submarines used, which were essentially locomotive engines. They had no reverse gear. To go in reverse, they shut down the engines and restarted them going backwards. The engines were directly tied into the prop shafts with electric generators, making up the ship's electrical supply. These lower requirements greatly reduce the size, cost, and crew required for the destroyer Escort. They are meant to escort the merchant fleet. This was a designation mostly only used by the U.S. Navy, by the way. Right about the time the Vietnam War ended, the USN gave up using the term destroyer Escort and instead adopted the term more commonly used in other navies during Second World War: frigate. Different navies call different ships different names. Often, though, the ships are similar, doing the same jobs. The Australian Navy had a class of ships called the River-class destroyer Escorts, which, for all purposes, were the same as the Royal Navy frigates on which they were based. USS Hill, DE-141, was an Edsall-class destroyer escort in service with the United States Navy from 1943 to 1946. Like destroyers, the DEs are being given the names of Navy and Marine Corps heroes. Hill is a Tier 5 premium American destroyer in Blitz. Her short-range torpedoes, the poor ballistics of her guns but reasonable for Tier 5 with her fast speed, a premium low-tier U.S. destroyer. Hill Destroyer's historical camouflage reflects its history quite well. It has two Level 1 fuel smoke. Fuel smoke is a type of smoke with a low cooldown but shorter active time than fuel smoke generator. Fuel smoke is of the type that creates a smoke screen on the move. There are also two Level 1 engine accelerators. There is no concealment for equipment selection in Tier 5. My preference would be for propulsion modification. The Hill is similar to the Nicholas in the US destroyer tech line, but the first and most important difference is the fuel smoke feature in the ship skill. One of the interesting differences is that Hill is a slightly smaller ship in size. At this point, the destroyer escort feature emerges more. 2 knots faster, Hill has the same main gun characteristics as Nicholas but has a slightly better range. The torpedo features are short range, but the Hill has a better concealment of 60 meters. This is not a significant difference. Although it is not very relevant, I did not want to neglect to compare it with the Black Kamikaze, one of the best destroyers in Tier 5 and perhaps the best. You can find the average Hill experience on 2 gameplays for beginners. Hope you like it. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Till next time.
Action stations!
Enemy target spotted! Enemy team captured the area! Our team captured the area! Enemy team captured the area! Our team captured the area! We're hit! Enemy team captured the area!
Requesting assistance! Roger.
Engine boost activated. We're under attack! We're under attack! Target hit! Destroyed an enemy ship! Engine boost activated. Our team captured the area.
Action stations.
Good luck and fair seas. Good luck and fair seas.
Capture Area B. Capture Area C.
Denied. Negative.
Capture Area B.
Negative.
Target spotted. Good job! Enemy team captured the area. Target hit! Enemy team captured the area. Enemy torpedoes spotted!
Capture Area A.
Ship is on fire! Torpedoes! We're hit! Team captured the area. Torpedoes! Hit the enemy! Ship is on
Good
fire!
game, everyone.
Engine boost activated. Destroyed an enemy ship. Enemy torpedoes spotted. Destroyed an enemy ship. Hull breach! We're taking on water! Torpedoes!